Hello, Keith Rucker at VintageMachinery.org. So back out on the lathe again this afternoon. Got home this afternoon and from work and getting a nice little rain shower now, as you can probably hear on the roof of the building. Hopefully the background noise isn't too bad. We've had some pretty hot temperatures. I've had a heat wave down through here in South Georgia the last week or two. I know on Monday we were over 100 degrees outside, and inside the shop here it was like an oven. In fact, the last couple of times I've come out and worked in the shop, I've gotten up like at 5 o'clock in the morning to come out here and work early in the morning before it gets too hot. So I know in my last couple of videos I had some people complaining about the sound of the fan running in the background, so they couldn't hear me talking over the fan. My apologies, but guys, it's in self-defense right now. I bet the temperature inside the shop the other day when I was filming some of that stuff was probably right around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just a little too hot without some air moving around. So I do have it turned off right now, but of course we got the rain on the roof. Enough on all that. We're going to get back in the lathe. We got, of course, the whole carriage assembly, the saddle, the apron, all that taken off in the last episode. Haven't really done anything else to it. It's just kind of sitting over there. What I want to do is kind of get the machine itself torn down as far as I want to tear it down, and go ahead and get this cleaned up, painted, any mechanical issues. Then we'll start working on the different components and basically just putting the lathe back together one piece at a time. So off camera, I came in here and I actually removed these machinery tags and stuff off of the machine. I had shown how I did that on the last video on the apron, and just use the same procedure. These machinery tags, I'm planning on trying to restore these, which will basically be cleaning up and repainting them and getting them back, hopefully where they look good again. So I've done some machinery tags before. These are going to be a little challenging. This is going to be some pretty tedious work. There'll probably be a series of videos on itself, or at least a video showing that process. But I think what I'm going to do next is go ahead and try to pull these handles off. And these are put in with some tapered pins, and hopefully should be able to knock those out without too much trouble. Go chase this one across the floor. Very good. I'm going to put the pin back in here just so that I know which pin goes back with the part here. And similar deal on this one. It's got a little tapered pin in here. So take a actually need a little bit smaller diameter, I think. All right, that one comes out with a whole little spur gear on it there. Looks like it probably engages something up inside. I'll need to remember that I was in the up position when I pulled that out. Okay, set these over here. Let's pull this one out. Comes. Got this little selector here. It's also in with a tapered pin. All right, I'm about to have this down where I can get in here with some paint stripper and start stripping pretty easily now that everything's out of the way. So I think I want to go ahead and pull this little carriage stop off. It's just got a couple of bolts. They're not even very tight. There we go. And that just slides off the end down here. All right, that one comes out with a whole little spur gear on it there. Looks like it probably engages something up inside. I'll need to remember that I was in the up position when I pulled that out. Okay, set these over here. Let's pull this one out. Comes. Got this little selector here. It's also in with a tapered pin. I'm about to have this down where I can get in here with some paint stripper and start stripping pretty easily now that everything's out of the way. So I think I want to go ahead and pull this little carriage stop off. It's just got a couple of bolts. They're not even very tight. There we go. And that just slides off the end down here. Now I want to pull this cover off. There's a couple of socket cap screws holding this on. These are the gears that power the quick change gearbox, and I don't know, we may go ahead and pull those off just to get access to the machine for painting and cleaning purposes. But these really, in practice, probably won't, there's no reason to really take them off in practice other than just cleaning up this machine. I'm also going to go ahead and comment while I'm right here and thinking about it, but I had several people comment from when we had the top of the gearbox open. They said, well, there's a shaft missing in there. They could see a place where some bearings could have mounted, and there were some oil holes even to oil those bearings, although there wasn't anything going to those oil holes. And they're saying, well, you're missing a shaft in there. You're missing some parts. Well, what that is this particular lathe, you could order it from the factory with an optional relieving attachment. And the relieving attachment basically had another shaft inside there that would power off. It would come out of this little boss here on the end. There was a gearbox that mounted actually in this little area right here on the front that had a drive shaft mechanism that would go up to the saddle. And the relieving attachment was for like tool and die making or making cutters, like horizontal mill cutters or reamers or whatever. So you got the, it's kind of a sawtooth shape. Well, when you're turning that, you actually have to relieve behind that cut on each one of those teeth. So there'd be like a set of cams in there for the number of cutters that you had on a particular item, and it would actually allow it to put that relief in there while it was turning. It was a pretty complicated setup specifically for tool making work, and that's what that's for. It was an option, and I don't know how many LeBlond actually sold that had that. This one was not equipped that way from the factory, which is why those parts were they just were never in there, which is why this is plugged up. Looks like there may even been something that went through here into the main headstock, but that's all that was. So now I want to go ahead and loosen up these nuts that are holding these on. I'm not going to take the gears off. I'll go ahead and take the nuts off, but I want to get them all loose before I actually take them off, because once you take the first one off, there's nothing here to hold it on there. It'll just be turning as you're trying to remove it. So we'll just go ahead and get these out of here, and then these gears will hopefully slide off without too much trouble. I don't know if you saw that. We've got a set of roller bearings in there. They fell on the floor. I'm going to clean all this up before we put it back together. So I'm just going to, for right now, put it back in there. And that's just going to have to, whoops, there we go. Let's see if I can keep all this together as an assembly. This gear puller is almost a little too small for this particular gear. Maybe it'll stay on there long enough to get it, pull it off. Yeah, it looks like it's going to grab it. The hooks on the end were just barely engaging with the gear, but it looks like it's going to pull it right off. Well, I tried to get the gear puller on this one, and there's just not enough room. There's just a little small gap in here, and those little hooks on here are just too big to fit behind that and be able to engage that gear. So I've dug around. I got a little crowbar here, and I'm going to see if I can get lucky, get behind one of these teeth, and yeah. That was easier than the gear puller. So anyway, that one's off. So next thing I think I want to take off is this little bracket here for holding the gear in place. These are often called a banjo, because not particularly this one, but some of them kind of look like the shape of a banjo. But the purpose is you could adjust this, and it had different area in here. So if you had different size driving and driven gears, that gear in the center can be positioned in different places depending on the orientation of that center gear. This was much more common on the change gear lathe, where you need to actually change the gears out to change the speed and pitch, or your feeds and speeds, or feeds, I guess, feeds, threading pitches and feeds. They may have had options on here to change this out to get a different set of leads on this particular machine. I'm not sure. I'd have to go look in there, which is maybe why this has this option for adjustability. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and pull it off. I do hope that there's marks on here, particularly on this bolt here. This one all pivots on this area right here, but I want it to go back where it was. So I'm hoping there's some marks up underneath there to kind of show where that bolt is, so that when I go to put it back together, I can get it in the right position and not have to go through trial and error to get this thing where it needs to be. So if not, I can see it right now that it's there. I will probably, once I get it off, do something to make that a little more obvious, just so that I know that where it needs to go when we go back together. All right. Next thing I want to try to get off are the different screws here going across that engage into the saddle and the carriage apron on the lathe. And the first one at the top is the feed screw. This is what are the threading feeds, not the feeds, I guess, but this would be for threading purposes. And basically, this rod here is just free spinning, and it's driven off of this rod here is what drives the feed mechanism, and then it's just directly geared up to this shaft. So to engage it, you just slide this gear forward and mesh it, and then if you're not doing any threading and you don't want your threading rod to be spinning, you can just come in here and manually pull that out. So I've been studying this, and I believe that this right here is basically all that's holding it on there. So there's two socket cap screws in here. We're going to take these out, and hopefully the whole rod will just come out at that point in time. That's my thinking. We'll see how right I am. So let's see, get the right one. That's the nice thing about these Allen wrenches that have this little ball end on the end, is that you don't have to be straight on it. You can cock it out like that and still be able to get it out. So if I had to go in straight with these, I'm not sure that I could get them out. All right, let's see how lucky I get. There it goes. The next rod we want to take off will be this one here. And this again is the one for the feed, drives the feeds in the carriage. And looking at it, again, there's a tapered pin that goes through this thing that looks like is what's holding it in. So I'm going to come in here with a punch. When you're dealing with these tapered pins, you need to find the small end and hammer on the small end. Sometimes it's difficult to tell which one that is. Sometimes you need to get a pair of calipers out or something to measure it with to figure it out. But if you will knock it out from the small end, this pin is tapered, it will seat in there, and it will hold very strong in there, but it's only going to come out in one direction. So that's out. Now, with any luck again, yeah, that's going to come right out. And I'm going to drop my pin back in there so that I know which one goes back in here. Continuing on, the next rod we want to take off is this one here. This one is the one that goes up and connects to the little lever on the carriage that will engage and disengage the headstock. So there's a lever on there. It basically just rotates this, I don't know, probably not even a quarter of a turn, and that in turn goes to this rod that goes through the machine, and then there's a linkage in the back of the machine that goes up to the top to the handle that engages things. So let's see, there's a pin. The cotters are already off of it. They were off of it when I got it. There was nothing really holding this thing in. There it goes. All right, so that should now be loose. I want to see if I can rotate this around, trying to figure out exactly how this thing works. There's Looks like there's probably some pins right here maybe, but I can't tell which side they're driven from. I'm assuming that it would have had to have been driven in this direction, because it would have been really hard to drive it in from the other direction. That's going to make it extremely difficult to get out, because I need to get behind it. I've been sitting here studying this thing, trying to figure out the best way to go about getting this apart, and it looks like what I need to do is actually get this shaft out first, and then this piece unbolts, and then this piece unbolts, and you can get it all out. But to do that, I've got to get this little linkage here. So this is a little piece that connects here, and basically it just shoves this rod in and out. Again, it's not even a quarter of a turn. And this piece here, I've been trying to figure out how to get it out. Well, there's a nut that's on the inside that I've been able to kind of reach my hand down here and get the nut off. And now I'm taking a soft blow hammer and kind of driving this thing out. And you can see this rod coming through, and this is what's holding this whole thing together. So now I need to figure out how to get that the rest of the way out. That's all the way pushed out that I can go from the back. I don't think I can get a punch behind there. It's just too tight. Let's see if I can yeah. All right, so that comes out. And hopefully now I need to take this linkage apart. Hopefully I can get that piece out. Yeah, all right, very good. Now with any luck, yeah, that just comes out. So that's a little spiral type gear thing in there, and that's for the reversing mechanism. So next thing we got here is this little gear. There's another tapered pin in here, and should be able to just, hey, that was real loose. So this one doesn't go through the center. It just goes through one side of it, but it does its job. Pull that out, and you can see that tapered pin just went through there enough to hold it all in place. So I think what I'm going to do now is looks like there's 3 socket cap screws holding this bracket in here, and I think this is all going to come off as one assembly, and that'll get my last rod off, and I can worry about knocking these taper pins out once it's off the machine, rather than trying to fool with it on the machine where I can't get to it. So let's see if we can get this. And there it comes. All right, we got that off. So now I want to get the quick change gearbox off. It looks like there's 4 bolts here holding it in place. So see if we can get this taken off. Not sure why that one is not all the way in. It's always a little concerning. Maybe there's nothing wrong with it. All right, before I take the top ones off, I think I'm gonna put a couple of 2x4s or something up underneath this so it doesn't fall when I loosen it. Well, putting some pressure on this, it doesn't feel like it's wanting to come off, but I don't want it to fall off. and fall down. So I'm just kind of putting some pressure, holding it up to the machine. And hopefully I can, just one little tight spot in this thing. There it comes. There it comes. All right, well, I think I'm just going to go straight down with this. So there's a quick peek at the back side of the quick change gearbox. I know I've had some requests to kind of look at this thing in detail, and I will probably make a video when we actually work on cleaning this part up and talk about how it all works and everything. But there's a quick sneak peek. I haven't done a full-blown inspection on it, but a quick inspection. It looks like all the gears are in decent shape. I don't see any broken teeth or anything like that in there. I don't see anything that looks like excessive wear. So I think we're in good shape. We will know better when we can get in there and do a little bit closer inspection on it. We'll take a peek at her now. She's starting to lose her clothes. I think Chuck Bomarito, Outside Screwball, commented last week that, you know, I was stripping her down. I said, well, she's not quite naked yet, but this is about as naked as she's going to get. We're not going to probably pull anything else off. My main goal here, again, we've done an inspection in the headstock, and there's really just not any good reason to tear this thing apart. You know, it sounds good, it seems like it's running good, so we're not going to probably tear it down any farther than this. Next step is to start getting all the old paint stripped off of this thing and getting it ready to repaint. And I've got to make some decisions on colors and so forth like that on what I want to do on painting this. But it's coming along nice. You know, she's ready to go ahead and start. Once I get this part probably all cleaned up and painted, and then we will start working on each individual piece excuse me, that we took off in backwards order. We'll clean it up, get it painted, and start reassembling the lathe till we get it all back together. So coming along nice. So that'll be a wrap for another episode on this video series on restoring this LeBlond lathe. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks a lot.